My name is Jenna, and I'm 33. For the last 10 years, I've been the designated adult in my family, the responsible one, the one who went to college on scholarships, got a high-stress job as a data analyst in Chicago, and dutifully managed her 401k. My younger brother, Mark, is 29. He's the visionary, the artist, the free spirit. In our family, those are all just polite words for unemployed and proud of it. For as long as I can remember, my life has been a series of sacrifices to fund his potential, and my parents have been the proud producers of his one-man show. I was just the quiet, off-stage financier, the one who was expected to write the checks and keep my mouth shut. I'd poured my own dream, my escape fund I'd been building to start my own consulting firm, into his bottomless pit of brilliant ideas. But this last time, it wasn't a few $100 for an art workshop. It was $75,000, my entire life savings. And when I found out the foolproof business venture was a total, complete scam, a lie cooked up by him and my parents to pay off his secret gambling debts, they didn't just apologize. They laughed. They called me weak and said I could just make it back. They had no idea I was a data analyst. They had no idea their entire conspiracy was documented in an email thread I wasn't supposed to see. They had no idea I was about to call in their debt, and that the only collateral they had left was the family home. Growing up in our house in suburban Wisconsin, the rules were simple, even if they were unspoken. Rule number 1, Mark is special. Rule number 2, Jenna is responsible. Rule number 3, when Mark screws up, Jenna's responsibility is to fix it, and our parents' responsibility is to explain why it wasn't really his fault. Mark, my younger brother, was born with a charisma that was almost blinding. He could charm the birds from the trees and, more practically, charm his way out of any and all consequences. He was the idea guy, always on the verge of his asterisk next big thing. My parents, especially my mom Brenda, ate it up with a spoon. They looked at him like he was a rough draft of a future billionaire. I was the other one, the quiet one, the one who got straight A's, not because I was a genius, but because I was terrified of what would happen if I didn't. I learned early that my achievements were just expected. Like paying taxes. Mark's achievements, however, were national holidays. I won a statewide math competition in high school, and my dad, Frank, nodded and said, "That's nice, honey. Don't let it get to your head." The same week, Mark entered a local battle of the bands with a song he'd barely written, came in last, and my parents threw a Keep Chasing Your Dreams party for him. This dynamic became our entire lives. I went to the University of Illinois on a near-full scholarship, got a degree in data science, and landed a high-pressure, high-paying analyst job in Chicago. I lived in a tiny, overpriced apartment, brown-bagged my lunch, and funneled every spare dollar I had into a high-yield savings account I called the Escape Fund. It was my one, secret, precious dream. It was the $75,000 I needed to one day quit my soul-crushing corporate job and launch my own small, independent data consulting firm. It was my future. Mark, naturally, went to a liberal arts college, on my parents' dime, mostly using loans they co-signed, to, quote, find his passion. He found several. First, it was filmmaking, which he quit because the professors didn't get his vision. Then it was poetry, which he quit because deadlines stifled the muse. He finally dropped out entirely, came home, moved back into his old bedroom, and declared himself a multidisciplinary visionary and entrepreneur. This mostly meant he slept until noon and came up with brilliant ideas that required my parents' money. My help started small. It was always framed as an emergency. "Jenna, honey," my mom would call, her voice trembling. "Your brother's car, the one they bought him, broke down. He needs it for a, quote, networking opportunity. Could you just spot him a few hundred?" I'd sigh and send the money via Venmo. Then it escalated. "Jenna, Mark has this incredible opportunity to go to a startup boot camp in Austin. It's a $2,000 fee, but the connections he'll make, it could be the thing that launches him. We're just a little short right now." I sent the money. I covered his rent when he briefly moved out with a friend and was inevitably kicked out for not paying his share. I paid off his credit card debt, Nibes twice. Each time I was assured this was the last time, that this was the one that would finally click for him. I was the family's unwilling venture capitalist, and my only return on investment was a front-row seat to his next failure. My dad, a man who had worked at the same paper mill for 40 years, just let it happen. "Your mother worries about him, Jenna," was all he'd say, as if that explained it. I was 33, my escape fund had finally hit its $75,000 goal, and I was this close to handing in my notice. I had the business plan. I had the logo designed. I was finally ready to start my own life. And that's when Mark came to me with his masterpiece idea. He cornered me at my parents' house during a tense Sunday dinner. He was vibrating with an excitement I hadn't seen in him before. He had the one. He'd found a local historic landmark, the old, defunct Paramount Theater in their town, and he wanted to buy it. He was going to revitalize it, he said, turn it into a multi-purpose arts hub, a community centerpiece, a concert venue, a gallery. He even had renderings, glossy pictures of a beautifully restored marquee and a sleek modern interior, which he'd apparently paid a friend to design. This isn't like the other times, Jenna, he insisted, his eyes shining with a rare, genuine-looking sincerity. This is real. I've been talking to investors from the city. They're in. They're so asterisk in. They're willing to fund the entire seven-figure renovation. The only catch, the asterisk-only thing, is that the deal closes in 72 hours, and the bank needs a good faith down payment on a bridge loan to secure the property. Just to show we're serious. I knew what was coming. How much, Mark? I asked, my voice already tired. 75,000, he said, the number just hanging in the air. But sis, it's not a handout. It's a 90-day loan, max. The second NOMD the investor's capital flows, you get it all back, plus 20% interest for your trouble. I signed a promissory note and everything. He slid a piece of paper across the table, a flimsy document he'd clearly downloaded from a free legal template site. $75,000. My entire escape fund. The exact amount. No, I said. It was the first time I had ever used that word with him regarding money. Absolutely not, Mark. I can't. What do you mean you can't? His face crumpled instantly. Of course you can. You've got it sitting in savings. I know you do. It's not for you, Mark. It's for my business. The one I've been planning for 10 years. He didn't get a chance to reply. My mother did it for him. She burst into tears, a dramatic, shattering sob that silenced the room. Jenna, how can you be so cold? She cried, her hand flying to her chest. Your brother finally finds his purpose, his asterisk, one big chance. And you won't even help him? After all we've done for you? All you've done for one? I was stunned. I'm the one who's been. Don't! My dad cut me off, his voice sharp. Don't you dare throw your money in our faces. We're a family. And your brother is in trouble. What trouble? I demanded. He's just found the deal of a lifetime, right? The stress is killing him. My mom wailed. And your father, his heart. He can't take this kind of anxiety, Jenna. This opportunity falling through because his own daughter was too selfish to help. It would break him. It was the full court press. Guilt. Emotional blackmail. The phantom of my father's health. They were pulling out all the stops. I looked at Mark, who was now staring at his hands, playing the part of the wounded visionary perfectly. I looked at my parents, their faces a mask of desperate, pleading disappointment. I caved. It was a lifetime of conditioning, a lifetime of being the responsible one. And in that moment, it was stronger than my own will to survive. Fine, I said, the word tasting like acid in my mouth. 90 days. That's it. Then I want my money back, with the interest. The relief in the room was explosive. My mom sobbed with gratitude. My dad clapped me on the shoulder, calling me a good girl. Mark hugged me, whispering, "You won't regret this, sis. You just saved my life. We're all going to be rich." That night, I went online, my stomach in knots, and initiated the wire transfer. $75,000, my entire dream, my future, zapped into his account. I felt like I had just set myself on fire. The first 30 days were filled with breathless updates from Mark. He'd secured the building. The Phase 1 demolition was starting. The investors were thrilled. He sent me pictures of the old theater, of himself pointing at walls, of fake blueprints. I let myself believe it. I had to. By day 60, the updates slowed. "Just paperwork, sis," he'd text. "Lawyers, you know how it is. So boring." By day 90, the day I was supposed to get my money back, silence. I called him. It went straight to voicemail. I called my parents. "Oh, honey," my mom said, her voice a little too breezy. "He's just swamped. These big deals take time. Don't be so impatient." Panic, cold and sharp, began to set in. This wasn't a delay. This was a deflection. I hung up, my hands shaking. I was a data analyst. My entire job was finding patterns in the noise, uncovering the truth buried under mountains of bullshit. And I was suddenly drowning in it. I did what I should have done from the beginning. I started digging. My first stop was the county's public property records website. I typed in the address of the Paramount Theater. My heart stopped. It had been sold 4.5 months ago, before Mark had even pitched me the idea. And it hadn't been sold to Mark's Investors, LLC. It had been sold to a massive, out-of-state commercial real estate developer, the kind that demolishes historic buildings to put up luxury condos. The renderings he'd shown me weren't his. The investors weren't real. The 72-hour deadline was a lie. The entire business venture was a complete and total fabrication. I stared at the screen, the room spinning. So where was my money? Where had my $75,000 actually gone? I felt sick. This wasn't just another one of Mark's half-baked failures. This was a premeditated scam. And my parents, they had to have been in on it. The coordinated pressure, the guilt trips, the dad's heart routine. They had played their parts perfectly. I needed proof. I needed to know why. My dad, bless his technologically illiterate heart, was not a savvy man. Years ago, I had set up his email account for him. He was always forgetting his password, so I had linked his account to my own as the primary recovery email. A feature he had long since forgotten, but I hadn't. With a sense of dread so profound it made my fingers tremble, I initiated a password reset. I logged into his email account, my heart hammering against my ribs. It felt like a horrible violation, but I knew I was long past the point of polite boundaries. I typed Jenna into the search bar, and my world ended. It wasn't just a few messages. It was a thread, an entire conspiracy stretching back 5 months. The subject line was, "The Jenna Solution." I clicked it open and read, my vision blurring with tears of pure, unadulterated rage. The first email was from Mark to my parents. "Mom, Dad, I'm in deep, real deep. The online bookie. It's over $70,000. They're not kidding around. They said they're gonna pay me a visit if I don't pay up. I'm scared." My mother's reply 2 minutes later. "Oh, my baby. Don't you worry, we will handle this. We will not let them hurt you." My father's, "We don't have that kind of money, Brenda. We're tapped out." And then, my mother's next email, the one that stopped my heart. "Yes, we do. Jenna does. She has that escape fund she's always blabbing about. She's weak to a guilt trip. We just need a good story. Something big. Something she'd believe. Frank, what about that old theater downtown?" I scrolled, my breath coming in short, sharp gasps. I read, as they meticulously plotted the entire scam. Mark found the fake renderings online. My dad looked up the already completed sale of the theater to make the timeline seem plausible. They workshopped the 90-day loan idea, the investors, the 20% interest, a detail my mom added, saying, "It'll make it seem like a real business deal. She'll go for it." They had built a trap for me, using my love, my trust, and my sense of duty as bait. But the worst, the absolute worst, was the final email in the chain, sent by my mother to my father just minutes after I had wired Mark the money. See? It worked. All that crying about his spirit was a nice touch. "She's a good girl, but so gullible. She'll be fine, Frank. She's smart. She can just make the money back. She can just make the money back." I was not their daughter. I was their emergency fund. I was the solution to their Mark problem. My entire life savings, my dream, my future, was just a minor inconvenience. They were confident I could make back. I sat in the dark, in my quiet Chicago apartment, for a very long time. The rage was a pure, cold, white-hot thing. It burned away all the old guilt, all the love, all the lingering sense of obligation. I was no longer Jenna the daughter, or Jenna the sister. I was Jenna the data analyst. And I had the data. I saved the entire email chain. I forwarded it to a new, secure email address. I printed it out. I had my proof. And now, I had to figure out how to use it. They didn't just want my money. They had been willing to destroy my future to save him from his. They thought I was weak, gullible, a pushover. They had no idea what a woman with nothing left to lose, and a laptop full of evidence, was capable of. For 2 weeks, I was a ghost. I didn't return their calls. I let their cheerful, "Just checking in," texts go unanswered. I needed to plan. Going to the police was an option, yes. Wire fraud, conspiracy. It was all there. But a public criminal trial would be messy, expensive, and the money was probably long gone, paid to whatever loan shark was threatening my brother. I wouldn't get my money back. I would just get the cold, bitter satisfaction of seeing them in court. No, I didn't just want justice. I wanted poetic justice. I wanted them to feel the same public humiliation they had been so willing to inflict on me. The same financial devastation. Then, the invitation arrived in my inbox. A digital Evite, covered in cheerful cartoon balloons. "You're invited. Come celebrate with us as we toast Mark's new venture and bright future." My parents were throwing a surprise party for Mark at their house. They had invited the ** entire extended family. My aunts, uncles, cousins, even my godparents. I stared at the invitation, the audacity of it making me laugh out loud. They had my $75,000, they had paid off Mark's debts, and now they were throwing an asterisk party to celebrate the very scam that had funded it. They were going to publicly toast their visionary son, further cementing the lie, and they wanted Coin to come and applaud. Oh, I would be there, and I was going to bring a hell of a party favor. The day of the party, I drove the 3 hours from Chicago to their home in Wisconsin. I walked in, my face a mask of polite, if distant, cheer. My mother rushed over and hugged me, her embrace feeling like a spider's web. "Jenna, I'm so glad you decided to come. We were so worried you were still upset." "How could I be upset?" I said, my voice smooth as glass. "It's a celebration." The house was packed. My aunts and uncles all greeted me warmly, oblivious. "Isn't it wonderful about Mark?" my Aunt Clara gushed. "Your parents must be so relieved he's finally found his footing." "It's truly something," I agreed. Mark was holding court in the center of the living room, looking tan and relaxed, probably from the vacation he took after I paid his debts, pontificating about market disruption and the future of community art spaces. It was nauseating. After about an hour, my father clinked a spoon against his champagne glass, silencing the room. "A toast," he announced, beaming, "to my son Mark. He's had his struggles, we all know, but he's a true visionary. He just secured the deal of a lifetime, and we are so proud of him. He is on his way." "Hear, hear." People cheered. My mother was wiping away a fake tear of pride. And my dad continued, "We have to give a very special thanks to his sister, Jenna. Her, support and belief in him was a crucial part of this. Thank you, Jenna, for helping your brother." All eyes turned to me. They were clapping for the fool I had been. "Thank you, Dad," I said, standing up, my laptop bag slung over my shoulder. "That means so much." In fact, I was so moved by this whole family project that I put together a little presentation. A making of, if you will. A look behind the scenes of Mark's incredible deal. They looked confused, but interested. "Oh, how lovely," my mom said. "Dad," I said, "can I hook up to the big screen TV? I have an HDMI cable." "Of course, honey," he said, beaming, clearly thinking I was about to show a slideshow of Mark's fake renderings. I connected my laptop. The TV screen flickered, and then my desktop appeared. I clicked open the file, and there, projected in 72-inch high definition for my entire extended family to see, was the first email. From Brenda Collins. To Frank Collins. Subject: The Jenna Solution. I let the room read it. I heard the first few confused gasps. "Jenna, what is this?" my Aunt Clara asked, her voice nervous. "This," I said, my voice clear and carrying through the dead silent room, "is the asterisk real business plan." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just read. I read the emails aloud, one by one, clicking through the entire thread. Email from Mark, March 12th, asterisk, "Mom, Dad, I'm in deep. Real deep. The online bookie. It's over $70,000. They're gonna pay me a visit if I don't pay up. I'm scared. Asterisk." The room was frozen. No one was breathing. Email from Mom, March 12th, asterisk, "Oh, my baby. Don't you worry. We will handle this. Asterisk." Email from Dad, asterisk, "We don't have that kind of money, Brenda. We're tapped out. Asterisk. And then, I said, my eyes finding my mother's. The email that started it all. From my own mother, asterisk. "Yes, we do. Jenna does. She has that escape fund she's always blabbing about. She's weak to a guilt trip. We just need a good story. Something big. Frank, what about that old theater downtown?" Asterisk. I kept going. I read the email where they plotted to create fake renderings. I read the email where my mom suggested the 90-day loan term. I read the email where Mark worried I wouldn't fall for it, and my dad replied, "She's a good daughter. She'll do what's right for the family." And then, the final email, the one I had memorized. I looked at my mother, her face a mask of pure, white-hot horror. Email from Mom to Dad, sent just minutes after I transferred them my entire life savings. Asterisk. See? It worked. All that crying about his spirit was a nice touch. She's a good girl, but so gullible. She'll be fine, Frank. She's smart. She can just make the money back. Asterisk. The silence that followed was absolute. It was so quiet I could hear the ice melting in people's glasses. My Aunt Clara was the first to speak, her voice a low, shaking whisper. "Frank? Brenda? Is this true? Is this a sick joke?" My father just stared at the screen, his face ashen. My mother opened her mouth, but only a small, choking sound came out. Mark, predictably, bolted. He just pushed past a stunned cousin and ran out the back door. They stole from you, my uncle, my dad's own brother, said, his voice full of a slow dawning cold fury. They concocted this disgusting lie, and they stole your life savings to pay off his gambling debts? My mom finally found her voice. You hacked us, she shrieked, her voice a raw, desperate sound. That's illegal. You invaded our privacy. Did I asked, turning to face her. Is it more illegal than committing wire fraud against your own daughter? Is it more illegal than conspiring to steal $75,000 under false pretenses? Is it more illegal than what you attempted to drop her? I looked around the room, at the horrified, disgusted faces of my entire family. I'm not here to ask for my money back, I said quietly, even though I knew it was gone forever. I'm not here to get an apology. I'm just here to provide the truth. You're all celebrating a visionary and his bright future. I just wanted you all to see the * real deal he secured and the * real family support that made it happen. I disconnected my laptop, packed it slowly into my bag, and walked towards the door. No one tried to stop me. As I walked out, the silence finally broke. Not with applause, but with the sound of my family finally, Sextureps finally, turning on them. The last thing I heard was my Uncle Robert's booming voice. Frank, you better start explaining. And it better be the truth this time. I didn't just walk out of the house, I walked out of their lives. I drove back to Chicago that night, and as the miles stretched out behind me, I felt a strange, profound sense of lightness. I had lost $75,000, my entire escape fund. But I had also just shed a 200-pound weight of family obligation and guilt I had been carrying my entire life. The fallout was, as my Uncle Robert would later describe it, biblical. My parents and Mark were social pariahs. The family didn't just shun them, they actively disowned them. My father was forced into an early and not at all comfortable retirement from the paper mill, as his own brother, my uncle, was his boss and could no longer stand to be in the same building with him. My mother, who had built her entire identity on being a respected community member, was humiliated, unable to even go to the grocery store without facing the cold, judgmental stares of people who now knew the truth. And Mark, his investors, his parents, were broke. His networking, his family connections, was radioactive. His sensitivity was finally, correctly, identified as a crippling character flaw. He was forced to get a real job, working the night shift at a 24-hour convenience store, the only place that would hire him. My parents had to sell the house. They couldn't afford the mortgage and their cost of living without my contributions, nor his dosti, the hope of a family trust, which my grandfather's will, I later learned, had stipulations about too. They bought a small, sad condo in a town an hour away, and were forced to live, for the first time, truly within their means. And me? I had lost my savings, but I had gained my life. The public exposure of the lie meant I was finally free. No one would ever ask me to help them out again. I buckled down at work with a new, singular focus. Without the constant financial and emotional drain, my career took off. I got the promotion to head the London office. I moved, leaving Chicago and all its ghosts behind. My escape fund was gone, but I didn't need it anymore. I had escaped. I'm 36 now, living in London for almost 2 years. My new life is everything I wanted. My job is challenging, I'm respected for my skills, and my salary, now unburdened, has allowed me to rebuild my savings faster than I ever thought possible. I'm finally launching my consulting firm, Veritas Data, on the side. Veritas. Truth. It felt appropriate. A few months ago I got a letter, forwarded from my old address. It was from my dad. It was long, rambling, and full of excuses, but buried deep inside were 2 words I had never heard from him. I'm sorry. He wrote that Mark was in therapy, that Mom was struggling, and that he finally understood the damage they had done. He asked if, one day, I might be able to forgive them. I read the letter, folded it, and put it in a drawer. I don't know if I'll ever reply. It's not about forgiveness anymore. It's not about revenge. It's just over. They made their choices, and they are living with the consequences. I made my choice too. I chose myself. My life is no longer a resource for them to drain. It's a foundation, one I built myself, and it is solid, secure, and entirely my own.